Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. I'm your host, Lily Allen Duenas. Together, we'll talk about the world of yoga and we'll talk to people from around the world. Before diving into the episode, I wanted to invite you to head on over to my Patreon account. I would love your support, and I'm thrilled to have this beautiful community space where we can do yoga together, meditate together, and you'll get access to exclusive content. Get ready for some private Zoom Q&As, free printable art, meditation recordings, and more. Follow the link in the show notes to get started, or head on over to any of my social media channels or my website, wildyogatribe.com, to hang out, get to know each other better, and find out more about all the support and resources available to you. Ready to dive in? Let's get started. Namaste, family, and welcome back to the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. Today, I'm so excited to welcome Sachiko Kawabata onto the show today. She's a yoga teacher from Japan who's been teaching yoga all over the world for the last 15 years. She teaches Qigong, and she's a practitioner of Chinese medicine, macrobiotic nutrition, aromatherapy, and Balinese massage. She's also taught yoga classes in Malaysia, Vietnam, Turkey, and more. So thank you so much, Sachiko, for joining me on the show today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Wonderful. I'm excited. And I'd love to hear more about your story and how yoga first came into your life.
Okay, so I experienced yoga for the first time in Bali nearly 20 years ago. At that time, I quit my corporate job and was in Bali to learn traditional massage from a Balinese mentor. So I wanted to do some exercise other than learning massage. So I visited a yoga studio in Ubud. I remember attending a very active vinyasa class and a traditional hatha yoga class. Yoga while looking at the scenery of the beautiful rice field. It was a very good feeling for the first time. Yes, that was my story.
Oh, that's amazing. Do you know the name of that yoga studio in Ubud? Was it the Yoga Barn?
Exactly, yes.
Oh, wow. I've been there as well. That's so amazing.
Yes.
It's a beautiful place. You're right, with all of the jungle and the greenery all around it.
Yes, I have been there. They are not so big studios. They are still small. And after that, they moved. That was a very big studios, like now.
Okay. Yeah, now it's very big. So you were there before it was in that location, it sounds like. And so I'm also curious about why did you want to become a yoga teacher? So why do you like teaching yoga, and what made you want to become a teacher?
Yoga is good things about that. People who are not good at moving their bodies, people with stiff bodies, older people, young people, anyone can practice yoga and changing themselves. Unlike athletes, there is no retirement. I find it very rewarding to support them. The other is adventure as a freelancer. Teaching yoga free my mind, then having freedom under great responsibility. So I feel like that. That's why I like teaching yoga.
Oh, amazing. I also agree that there's freedom, this amazing freedom to travel or to learn, to grow, to immerse yourself in new communities and new cultures or new traditions. I know that you've definitely learned so much about so many cultures and traditions through learning about Qigong and learning Chinese medicine. Is there anything you want to share about those modalities, about Chinese medicine or about massage or anything else?
Now I'm mainly teaching in yoga. And so this in yoga is very related to Chinese medicine, also Taoism. So our improved in yoga is Taoism actually. Tao has a surprising amount in common with Hatha yoga. In fact, as a Japanese person, I can easily understand Chinese philosophy, which is based on a common culture, Indian philosophy. I think many people believe that yoga was happened only in India. Yoga did not originate only in India. Around the time yoga was born, synchronicities were happening all over the world at the same time. Especially in China, there are many common items such as qi. Qi is energy, by the way. So qi, similar to prana. Meridians, similar. Then hatha yoga is also related to Buddhism. Yeah, this culture is really interesting. Yoga is really interesting. The yoga is not only yoga. Yes, that's my opinion.
Amazing. I love hearing more about the relationship of Taoism and yoga and how chi is energy, similar to prana. Meridians are similar to nadis. I've also noticed that. I've also said, oh man, chi or ki, pronounced ki sometimes is so similar to prana. So I love talking to you about that. I'd also love to hear if you think that there's anything that people are getting wrong about yoga.
Yeah, so yoga is not just body exercises and stretching. It's something that allows you to access the spirit beyond the body by focusing on consciousness and breathing together. That is my opinion.
Okay. I'd also love to hear what is your definition of yoga? I know that we have sutras and texts and so many things that we can read or we can study that provide us with definitions of yoga. But what's your personal definition?
Yoga is not for only bodies. So that's my definition. Yoga is for our spirit.
I love that. Yeah, yoga is definitely for the spirit. And when people think it's only one layer, like just for the physical, they're missing out on so many things about yoga.
Yes.
So is there a powerful lesson that yoga has taught you or a powerful gift that yoga has gave you?
Yoga is something that can work on the mind and the spirit through the training of the body. If you can't get rid of all ego, you can first know that you have an ego inside of you, and you can know that you can be calm and peace without being swayed by various emotions. It can to be there as just being as you are. And in the truest sense, you wake up in this world. I think this is the most powerful gift from yoga.
Amazing. I do think that is such a powerful gift as well. And I love hearing about this huge way that yoga gives you a gift. So I was wondering, in Japan, what's yoga like? What was it like in the past? And where do you see it going in the future?
The history of yoga in Japan is quite long, starting around the 1960s. There are wonderful things such as books left by legends at that time. After that, there was a time when yoga had a bad image due to the violent cult group. But since the early 2000s, healthy yoga has risen and is now widely recognized as a culture. In the future, it will spread to many people for various purposes, such as treatment, beauty, education, and communication tools. Yes.
Oh, I had no idea that there used to be a violent type of yoga in Japan. What do you mean by that?
There was a very cult group in Japan that was almost 19 something around. I forget the timing. And then one cult group that was a very big group that they controlled. They were using yoga and then control people. It was quite big news in Japan. They killed peoples.
How strange that yoga people
Yeah.
are killing people. Wow.
Yes, super strange.
So they weren't probably real yogis. They were just taking some type of yoga, practicing it, and then hurting people? Huh.
Yeah. Actually, they are a religion group.
A religion.
But
Okay.
then the leader of this religion, this one said they are yogi. He said he's yogi. They are not doing yoga only. They do many things. Yoga is just a part of them job, but they are using yoga to control people. They are correcting people. all over Japan. And of course, they collect money a lot. Also, they controlled people. Sometimes it's too much. Even they killed people, some people. Yeah, it's so strange.
Wow, I'm glad that ended. I'm glad that is no longer the case. So what is your culture's response to yoga now here in Japan? What's going on now with yoga there?
Yeah, so mostly people think about yoga as fitness, or how to say in English, good for health, wellness, easy to enjoy yoga everywhere.
Because there's yoga studios everywhere in Japan now?
Yes,
Okay. So it's very popular.
yes, very popular, yes.
So, for our listeners, Sachiko, who don't know very much about Japan at all, they just maybe can think of where it is on a map, or maybe they know one thing about it. Can you share with us more about Japan?
Surrounded by the sea on all sides and with many volcanoes, Japan is blessed with hot springs, clean water, and delicious food. Japan has a long history and tradition. I think that the clean city and the kindness of the people come from such traditions. At the current World Cup football match, Japanese supporters always clean up the stadium after the match, regardless of whether the Japanese team wins or loses. These stories quickly spread around the world on social medias. In addition, there is that sticks to morality and justice even when no one is watching. When we were little, we were taught that Otento-sama is watching you always. So Otento-sama means heaven, the sun, or a god. Okay, that's Japan.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing with us. You did that so succinctly, like in just a minute or two, you told us everything. Thank you. Do you like living in Japan?
Yes.
Yeah, I've never been, but it's definitely a country I want to go to. I can't imagine anybody who isn't very curious or very interested in visiting.
Yeah, please come.
Thank you. Do you lead any yoga retreats, or do you teach yoga? Because I know you teach yoga all over Japan. So are you teaching retreats or just courses or trainings?
Yes, I sometimes teach yoga retreat, and mainly I teach yoga courses, like a teacher's training.
Okay, great. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you, Sachiko, ask a question or learn more, or if they're even planning a visit to Japan, I'm going to link your website and all of your social media accounts in the show notes. So whenever anybody just is listening to the episode, they want to check out a link of yours, they can go to the show notes or go to my website at wildyogatribe.com/yoga in Japan. And then you can read more about Sachiko, see the show notes, and even find a transcription of this podcast episode so you can read along. So thank you so much, Sachiko, for being on the show with me today. I've loved having you here.
Thank you so much also. It was really lovely time to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. My conversation with Sachiko Kawabata, a yoga teacher from Japan, was so inspiring as she shared with us her unique perspective on and understanding of yoga. I hope that this conversation made you really curious about the relationship between Taoism and yoga, and also about all these yoga synchronicities that happen all over the world. If you're looking to tune into a podcast episode that is all about yoga for the spirit, then this is the conversation for you. Thank you for listening to the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. Be well. Thank you for the gift of your attention today. If you feel called, please share this episode with someone who you think could benefit from it. Leaving a review would also be so appreciated. I also hope you can join me online on my website, wildyogatribe.com, or on social media. I would love to get to know you better. I would love to share with you and to hear your thoughts. Send me a DM, send me a note, get in touch. It would be great to hear from you. And as always, be well, dear one, be well.